Greetings fencers, I am Orlando and I welcome you to Knightly Arts. Today we will talk briefly about the third basic cut of the German longsword tradition, the Mittelhau, which is the middle strike. We've already talked about the Oberhau and the Unterhau in our video Introduction to Longsword. If you haven't seen it, we'll leave it in the description below. And we've also talked in a specific episode about a variation of the Oberhau, which is the Zornau. But we still haven't spoken about the Mittelhau. Well, basically it's because there's really not much to say, but since we might bring it up in the future episodes, we might as well treat it very briefly. Now, as we've seen in the past, Oberhau simply cut from above in a diagonal fashion. Same thing with the Unterhau, the cut from below, always diagonal. The Mittelhau has no diagonal trajectory, it's just simply horizontal. You can do it at any heights, below or high. The German master actually talk more about, striking high, usually around the ear or the head. But it really simply depends on the guard that your opponent is using. Usually, we can discuss about it, but usually the high guards are a lot more common in combat compared to the low ones. Before we even get into more detail, let's go talk with Philippe and let's see what the masters have to say about the Mittelhau.
Hi, this is Phil from La Compagnie Medievale, and today we're going to talk about Mittelhau, or the middle strike. The middle strike is one of the basic attacks along with the Oberhau and Unterhau that you can see most often. It is an horizontal cut that you do not see mentioned in every source. However, those that do mention it talked about it as one of your basic strikes that you can use to enter the distance and cover yourself at the same time. It is mostly described as a high traversing strike that targets the ear or neck. You can also target the hands or arms if your opponent's guards are high enough. Joachim Meyer tells us that the Mittelhau can achieve most of what a Zornhau can. What he calls a Zornhau is what most of us call an Oberhau, so mostly just an overhead strike. However, it can easily be parried with any strike from above, so be wary in its use. Let's go see the Knightly Arts crew and see how it is done.
Perfect. So, as we've seen, there's not much. There's many treaties, many longsword treaties that don't even talk about it. That doesn't mean it was not used. Probably they did not talk about it because of the lack of mastery you need to actually hit from the side, or I think masters back in the days were just trying to impress with their knowledge, and they would have not spent so much time talking about something that was really not requiring of skills or certain things. But the Mittelhau actually has some utility. Example, my last tournament that I've been to, we're talking about beginning of August, I believe, in Ottawa, Point North. Actually a pretty good tournament, one of the best I've enjoyed so far. The guy that actually made it to silver was using a lot of Mittelhaus in his combat. He would provoke a defense with a classic Oberhau on one side, and immediately riposte with a Mittelhau on the opposite side, retreating. Now, we can discuss that the main problem with the Mittelhau in a general situation is that you do not cover the line as well as the other basic cuts. And that's why, you don't see it that much in tournaments. But if used in the right context, it's got its usage. Now, every time we described in the past videos, how to attack, how to defend, we've obviously showed a specific situation, which is a distance in which you can attack, but you can be attacked as well. That is why keeping a good closure of your, line of attack was very, very important. In that case, the way this fighter, I'm not gonna say the name, used it was while retrieving, while withdrawing, which means that he would attack, and while withdrawing, getting outside of the reach, go with that hit on the hands. It's actually genius. Why do I say it was genius? Well, if you want to change direction from one attack, let's say Hoberhau to another Hoberhau, or even from a Hoberhau to another Hunterhau, there's some motions to be done. That motions require obviously time in order to retract the blade and deliver it again. The more space you cover in the trajectory, the more time it will take. The Mittelhau is a perfect combination of speed and effectiveness because from Hoberhau, I don't have to actually recharge everything from the other side and strike back. Same thing with the Hunterhau. I don't have to go all the way down and recharge. But from here, just a slow movement of the wrist and I can attack on the opposite side. Or from here on the opposite side. It's actually very, very useful, and he proved it to be extremely effective because he uses it from the pools all the way to the finals. Obviously in the finals you meet the big guy, and with us it doesn't work. But still, it does work if used in the correct context. Now, to have a better view of what we believe is a good execution, let's go check with Jerome and see how it is done.
Hey, this is Phil from La Compagnie Medievale.
And this is Jerome.
And today we're going to talk about the Mittelhau, or the middle strike. The middle strike is different from all the other attacks, basically because it comes on a horizontal line, wherever the other attacks come from either downwards or a diagonal line. It's simple enough, where you just have to strike on a flat line and aim for your opponent's ear or neck, basically. Do it like this. Simply strike on a horizontal line, target your opponent's neck. It's simple enough. It's a good move to close a distance because usually your opponent will have to react to any strike that comes his way, and that forces him to basically lose the line. So if I show it to you again. And from the left side. It's also a very good strike to use when your opponents raise their hands. What happens then is when their hands are up, usually they threaten for a strike, but what you can do is simply target the elbow like this, move out of the way, and then his sword goes wherever it needs to be, which is not in your body. So if I show that to you again, your opponent raises his arms, so what you have to do is basically just strike at the elbow and go down. Simple enough for the Mittelhau. It is an attack that is underrated. We don't see it often, but it's a good one to have in your bag of tricks. So, we saw the Mittelhau, a strong horizontal attack. Use it well, use it often, and that's it. Simple enough.
Welcome back. So, now, I gotta be honest. As an individual, I've got slightly different opinions about the Mittelhau compared to the guys from La Compagnie Medievale. But I really think each one of us has a different opinion or a different view of how anything is done in a combat. And it's the individuality of the fighter. So as I said, the only moment I would actually use the Mittelhau is when we're gaining distance, when we're disengaging, when we are not easily reachable from the opponent. Because otherwise it's just too risky. A situation in which you're completely horizontal, you're not covering any line, you're really too exposed. I would personally never use it in engaging distance, but hey, I hope you learned something from today, and you know, try it, practice it, make it your own, and find out how you will use it effectively in combat. Thank you for staying with us up until now. See you in the next episode, and alla pugna. Thank you for being with us up until now. So if you've liked what you've seen so far and you want to know more, please like, subscribe, and if you think that there's other friends of yours or people you know that might like this, please talk about us. Let people know that we exist. In the case you didn't like it, don't put dislikes, don't comment negatively, don't tell anybody, just mind your own business, and thank you!